Morning folks, Horner's here. You joined me on an early morning train to Hayes in Kent, about to embark on what is probably the penultimate practice walk ahead of starting the coast to coast next weekend. It's going to be the first time out today using a backpack, so that's going to be interesting, albeit it's not fully laden, so we'll give that a go. We're heading down to Hayes and then we're going to walk through to Downe, mostly off-road. Downe, of course, famous for being the village where the Georgian Dragon is, the pub where Farage is often pictured downing pints whenever he's looking for a sort of media soundbite. We're probably going to be a bit early to bump into the big man today though, probably through Downe by about 9:30 AM. From Downe we're then going to head on to Westerham in Kent, sort of M25-ish, and then from there, here I am outside the Greyhound pub in Keston village, which is lovely, but I wasn't meant to be coming through Keston, so I'm not sure what's happened there. I've just emerged out of the woods just over that way, hopelessly lost between here and Hayes Common somewhere. Bit of a concern, if I'm honest, bearing in mind that I've got a GPS on me and I'm also following someone's guide for this walk. I'm meant to be guided, so yeah, that is a concern. Keston's lovely though. Okay, a lot of backtracking around these woods, but I finally come across some kind of way marker. That purple one at the bottom is promising because that is the Ravensbourne Trail, and that is what I've been looking for. So I guess we turn right here and hopefully we're now back on the trail. So here I am on the Ravensbourne Trail. People from my previous video will be familiar with the lower reaches of the Ravensbourne. We're getting close to the source now, Keston Ponds. I've still not found them. I hope to see them because I've never, despite living very locally, I've never actually been and had a look at Keston Ponds. But this is absolutely amazing bit of countryside within Greater London. I mean, a massive field of heather. It's really colourful and very, very peaceful. Okay, we've missed the Keston Ponds for sure, but I have now found the London Loop, so that is that's promising. I'm definitely back on the guidebooks trail. I say guidebook, it's just some crappy website about walking around London, but hopefully we can stick with the route from now on. Okay, believe it or not, we're still in probably only in about zone 5 of Greater London, and we could be right out in the countryside. Look at that. More interesting, however, is this on my right, which is the Wilberforce Oak, and I'll tell you what's significant about that in just a moment. So the significance of the Wilberforce Oak is it marks the spot, in fact on the bank just over my left shoulder, where Wilberforce sat down and had a conversation with William Pitt the Younger back in 1788. During that conversation, the pair of them agreed that they'd make a proposition to the Houses of Parliament with a view to abolishing the slave trade. That conversation is now marked by this memorial bench behind me. I'm pretty sure the bench wasn't there for them to sit on when they were having their chat. Just behind me, these are the gates to the mansion called Holwood. That's where Pitt the Younger actually used to live. I think you used to be able to get in and have a look round, but it's now been bought by a private individual, and it looks like security's quite tight, so I think we're going to give that one a miss. Not sure I'm still on the public right of way, getting a bit close for comfort to some of these wild beasts. Okay, so I've just passed through the village of Downe. Not a lot going on, to be honest. Very, very rural feel to it. And that's mainly because it's one of the least accessible places in the whole of Greater London to reach by public transport. There's basically one bus in and one bus out. Biggin Hill, just along the road from here. Similarly sort of famous for being difficult to get to. Anyway, one thing that does put Downe on the map, apart from the Georgian Dragon, which isn't open yet unfortunately, so won't be able to stand in Nigel's footsteps on this occasion. But this building over my left shoulder, this is Downe House. Now, this is where Charles Darwin lived with his 10 children. And in fact, Darwin used to collect a lot of his samples from Keston Ponds that we sort of spectacularly failed to locate 2 hours or so ago. But yeah, this is where Darwin lived. There's a museum here, but apparently it's pretty boring, so we won't be going in today. Still in London, we're just outside Cudham, still in London, believe it or not. Look at the size of this field. Farmer has been busy getting all of his hay baled up. Still hardly seen another person. I think you can just pick out the semblance of a path in front of me though. Not sure it's the right way, but we'll go on and we'll find out. Right, I'm feeling a bit peckish now. It doesn't really do it justice, but that's actually a serious hill I've just come up. You can see over my left shoulder, I'm not sure you can see it, but basically it's that field of hay that we went through in the opposite direction an hour and a half ago. So basically I've done a massive loop of Cudham, which wasn't part of the plan. Again, following these shoddy instructions, should just trust the map and the sat nav, I think, which I'm starting to feel a bit warmer towards. Anyway, hopefully just over the brow that way will be Cudham village, and I'm hoping that something will be open to get a bit of nose bag, because I'm pretty peckish now. It's nearly 12:30. Now then, good afternoon. Turns out I can navigate after all. That last hill I was climbing, as I sort of got over the brow of it and emerged onto the road, I was actually right in front of the Blacksmith's Arms, Blacksmith's Inn or something in Cudham. Turns out that on an Ordnance Survey map, a pub is now designated by a large pint glass. I just thought it said PH. Anyway, here I am. It's a bit windy, blowing the tripod around a bit, but just thought a quick recap of my thoughts on the morning. Really struggled around haze. This is a worry. 15 minutes from home, my own manor, and I was trying to follow these instructions some guy's walk had found on the web, and I think the instructions were actually pretty shoddy, to be honest, so I'm not completely blaming myself. I was certainly getting frustrated with the GPS and thinking actually it's maybe more trouble than it's worth. Someone manoeuvring a truck now, making a right racket. Can't you see I'm filming, mate? Anyway, the GPS actually came into its own. There was a couple of points on the walk where I had to go across sort of farmers' fields that were full of horses and such like, with no obvious public footpath marked. And actually could pick these up quite easily on the GPS unit and the Ordnance Survey maps that I've loaded up to there, so I'm actually quite pleased with that. I think it struggled around Hayes Common and Keston and that, just because the sheer number of footpaths. I'm not sure all of them are on the map, so it's quite difficult to sort of see the wood from the trees, as it were. Blacksmith Arms itself, surprisingly busy. It's 12:30 Tuesday lunchtime. Surprisingly busy. I had to wait a long time in there. I'm getting quite a gammony vibe, I've got to be honest. However, quid pro quo is they have an excellent sandwich menu. I always, people know me well, I'm always moaning about why the pubs only do baguettes and focaccias and paninis and stuff. But actually this has just got a proper sandwich menu, you know, prawns in Mary Rose sauce, ham, white bread, cheddar cheese and Branston. So I'm actually looking forward to a bit of a proper sort of pub sandwich lunch. I've not chosen what I'm going to have yet. In terms of ale choices, it's poor. The Harvey's was off. They had Gloom Bar, the ubiquitous Gloom Bar was on, and I actually opted for the proper job. State of this, I'm in some really tranquil, very, very nice sort of country lane, not seeing any cars, really lovely spot, and someone's just fly tipped a load of shite. They really, it's one of these crimes that I think should be cracked down on a lot harder. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, would it have hurt to take that lot to the tip? Fucking hell. Blimey, it's amazing. A couple of pints I've already had to stop and break the seal once. This doesn't bode well. In happier news, in front of me, I just actually found the first sign to Westerham on a footpath. I mean, it looks an ancient sign, but I think it says maybe 2.5, 2 3/4 miles. So that's promising. I thought we were further away than that. Let's see. Another fun Horner's fact. This behind me is Gray's Farm, and this is the southernmost house in the whole of Greater London. Fun fact. Looks like they've had their bins emptied today, which is good for them. But it is hard to believe that we're still in Bromley all this way out, when you think that when we lived in Crystal Palace, that was also in the London Borough of Bromley. It's insane, really. We feel so far out of the countryside. State of this valley behind me, it's again, the camera doesn't really do justice to just how high up we are. It's a really steep valley here. It's something to do with where the Thames estuary plain meets with the Downe Valley. It's got some Spanish name for it, can't remember what it is. Also pretty boring. And there we go, to burst the lovely sort of pastoral bubble. I can see the M25 traffic crawling away in the near distance there. That will just get heavier and heavier on this time on a Tuesday afternoon. How miserable. Literally in the middle of nowhere, and I've just stumbled across this little memorial. Someone shot down in the Second World War. I'm guessing from the name that he must have been a Polish pilot. I say just middle of nowhere, and somebody's, presumably the family, have come along and made this quite touching memorial. Actually, looks fairly new. Right, well, that was a harrowing ordeal. I just got totally lost in the fields and woods up there. Ended up in some kind of game bird thing where they were sort of breeding them. There was massive, about a couple of acres just fenced off to keep the foxes out. But all the gates were open, there was birds everywhere, and there was no other living soul around. I swear it was like something from a Hitchcock movie. Anyway, thankfully I've just hit a road, again completely bereft of signage. There is one sign over there, but it's faded, I can't see what it says. This guy's instructions for the walk I've given up on. It's just got me in a lot of trouble. I'm thinking from the OS that this road I'm on here, you can see it sort of coming down the hill from behind me, I'm thinking it's the Pilgrim's Way, where Chaucer's pilgrims would have walked way back when. They wouldn't have had to contend with the M25, however, which I can still hear in the distance that way. I know Westerham is on or close to the M25, so I'm going to head that way, and hopefully there'll be somewhere to get across the motorway without having to play Frogger. There is absolutely thousands of elderberries down this Pilgrim's Way. Temptation to stop and pick a load is huge, particularly as we're now into winemaking season. Now then, not seen any signposts for a good long time. Now that one is very faded, but all it says is public footpath, which isn't really very useful. However, down here there's a little way marker, and that seems to suggest that the Westerham Brewery is down that path somewhere. I have no idea if they have a tap room, but I'm not going to die waiting to find out. That way it is. There we have it, London's orbital motorway, the M25, still moving pretty smoothly. Not quite rush hour yet, we'll get a lot busier in the next half an hour. Okay, I'm at the brewery, the Westerham Brewery. Unfortunately the tap room's shut, because of course they were open yesterday with it being a bank holiday Monday, so they're shut Tuesday instead. That is annoying. I just got quite nettled taking that alternative track to come down and visit here. We also noticed that the vineyard or the winery or whatever around the corner is also shut today, so that's annoying, but never mind, on we go. Do you have a station in Nostrum? Excuse me? Do you have a station in Nostrum?
A station? No,
Train?
no railway station.
No railway station. Where's the nearest? Right, we've just crossed the county line back into Bromley from Kent. A couple of sort of lessons learned, observations, thoughts, feelings for today. In terms of distance, pretty happy with that. Forget what it was now, about 15 miles. I think next week the biggest stretch is about 21 miles on day 2. So the question is, could I have done another couple of hours if really pushed? I feel that I probably could have, so that's a good confidence booster. Also, looking at the elevation gain today, was actually the topography was a lot more challenging than I imagined it would be. And I've actually done about 600 metres of elevation climbing today. Probably nothing like the Lake District. As Coupon would say, it's, you know, it's all shits and giggles in the sunshine in the Garden of England. But can he do it on a late Tuesday afternoon in Borrowdale in the wet?